The Home Depot supports This Old House Radio Hour. You know, here at This Old House, we love a big project, but as the holidays approach, our attention turns to getting the house ready for those special family moments. And if you're anything like us, you believe it's never too early to deck the halls. The holidays aren't just a season, they're a collection of moments. And at the Home Depot, they know that home is where those moments truly come to life. As the #1 expert in all things home, they're here to be your go-to partner to help create your holiday vision. Take a look at their pre-lit trees. They have options that fit any style and budget. Plus, their pre-lit trees are easy to assemble in just a few clicks, which makes setup a breeze. And for the outside, you can find decor that brings holiday joy to your yard and build your collection year after year. It's about creating that curb appeal that welcomes everyone home. Ready to kick off the holidays? Find everything you need to get your holidays started with the Home Depot. From LAist and APM, American Public Media, it's This Old House Radio Hour. I'm your host, Jen Largis. On today's show, as wildfire season approaches, don't leave your home unprepared. Learn how to plan ahead to keep your house protected even before the flames arrive.
If there is one thing that you are able to do to reduce your risk from a wildfire is address what we call that non-combustible zone, your 0 to 5 foot perimeter around your home.
Adam Carolla bought back his childhood home from his father, but fixing and flipping the dilapidated property proved more than he bargained for.
My dad wasn't capable of doing any kind of renovation financially, spiritually, morally, physically, psychologically.
Plus, our experts share how to properly get your lawn and yard ready for winter. All of this, plus we're answering your home improvement questions at 877-864-7460. Coming up next. Welcome back to This Old House Radio Hour from LAist and APM. I'm your host, Jen Largis. Wildfires are unfortunately inevitable, but damage to your home doesn't have to be. Dr. Kimiko Barrett from Headwaters Economics is an expert in wildfire research and risk reduction. She joins us now to share how to safeguard your home and neighborhood. Dr. Barrett, welcome to This Old House Radio Hour.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, Jen.
So when you think of a wildfire, the image I think that comes into a lot of people's minds is just flames completely engulfing a home. But that's really rarely how a home catches fire. So tell us, how do wildfires usually ignite a home?
What we know through both post-fire analysis and research is that the primary culprit behind home loss is embers. Embers are these balls of flames, hundreds of millions of them, that fly anywhere from 1 to 4 miles ahead of that wildfire front. And if they land on any combustible surface area, they have the potential to become a spot fire. And it is that spot fire that grows and propagates through a community to actually lead to the spread of the fire from the wild lands into a community itself.
Yeah, and what are some of the things that are most vulnerable that those embers hit that are most at risk?
Yeah, so it's things like pine needles on your roof or in your gutter system, dead debris, vegetation, anything that might be flammable on a very large surface area that's covering your house. Perhaps you even have wood-shake shingles covering that roof. And then let's work our way down from the top. I have a lot of bark mulch that surrounds my house. I have junipers up against the side of the house. I have a deck that's made of wood. I live in Montana. Not only do we have a lot of wood decks, but we actually put our firewood on that wood deck. And so the furniture, the doors itself, the windows. And so you're looking very methodically at the house as a full systems package and all of these vulnerabilities. And so when you think through how do you reduce the risk, it's essentially trying to address the flammable surface areas of the home. Once it starts to burn, it's going to burn really, really hot for a really, really long time. And then you have what we call radiant heat take over. So while the embers are the primary leading cause of home ignition, once that first home starts to burn, the radiant heat within the home is the next source of exposure. And then neighbors start to become compromised.
And so if you live near a wildfire zone, what changes can you make specifically to your yard or outside your house to make sure that that wildfire doesn't spread?
If you have a wooden roof and you are in need of replacing it, now would be a good time to look at more durable, safer roof covering surfaces, such as asphalt composition shingle, which is Class A, a tiled roof or a metal roof. Work your way out on the exterior siding. If you have wood siding, now would be a good time to start thinking through alternative products that are more resistant, like fiber cement. Stucco is another great product that can reach wildfire resistant standards. And then very importantly, what we call a non-combustible zone. This is 0 to 5 feet out from the exterior wall. And this is where a lot of people consider to be their flower beds. Instead of using bark mulch, replace it with gravel or rock or even concrete or tile. And as you start to extend your way out from the home, the vegetation needs to be thought of in terms of spreading that surface fire to the home itself. And so it's pruning trees, it's trimming them, it's spacing them, and it's staying on top of the grasses and the shrubs themselves. And once you start to account for things like radiant heat, then this has to occur at a neighborhood scale.
Any advice on how to work with your neighbors to combat possible wildfires?
All neighborhoods have to address this level of mitigation to be effective. So it might be a neighborhood advocate or an ambassador. An HOA covenant can go a long way in actually requiring resistant measures across the board. When you start to scale it up beyond just an HOA level, you're looking at things like subdivision regulations. Building code is an important one. Zoning and ordinances can really help supplement and build up the regulatory mechanisms behind a lot of these efforts, because unfortunately, we do know voluntary measures alone won't get us to the level of mitigation that we need to see. There are some great programs out there, though, that can really increase awareness around this, like Firewise. And now increasingly, we're seeing a lot of pressure from the private sector in the form of the insurance market, requiring homeowners reach mitigation standards in order to retain their coverage for another year. So there's lots of different forces, both carrots and sticks, that are helping to compel this level of action.
And so we like to end each episode with something called the simple fix, where an expert shares a quick tip to make the next job easier. Do you have a simple fix when it comes to wildfire prevention?
The simple fix, I think anybody who is in my line of work would recommend, above all else, is look at your 0 to 5 foot perimeter around your home. And if there is one thing that you are able to do to reduce your risk from a wildfire, is address what we call that non-combustible zone. And then as you start to go through the season, think about, if you have firewood there, relocate it someplace safer. If you put your canoe up against the side of the house and the canoe is made of wood, think about where that could be relocated to bring down, again, the risk to not just your house, but to the neighbors around you, and bring your entire community to a higher level of wildfire resistance.
Kimmy, great advice, and we thank you so much for being here and sharing your expertise.
Absolutely, Jen. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Right now, we're tackling your DIY and home improvement questions. We've got an expert on site to help you get the job done right. Call us now at 877-864-7460. That's 877-864-7460, and we'll match you with the right expert. Hello, you're on This Old House Radio Hour.
Hi, this is Sean Durkin from Oneonta, New York.
Hey, Sean, what's your question today?
Well, I'm here with my wife, Nicole, and we moved into our house about a year ago. And we have a couple issues that we're trying to figure out how to prioritize and budget for and knock down the first things first. We live in a 1930s home. It was the childhood home of a beloved Hollywood actor. We get a lot of front lawn traffic of people showing up to take pictures, and Google's done its best job to make it a notable attraction in our small town. But we have 3 teenage boys, and trying to, again, stay within budget and also do the right things by the heritage of the house.
Absolutely. Well, I've got our general contractor for the show, Zach Detmore, here on the line to help us out.
I've heard Zach before. Nice to speak to you.
How's everything going in the City of Hills? Is that true? That's
City
hilly over
Hills,
there?
You got it. Yeah. Oneonta. It's a Mohawk word. Yeah. Wow. That's impressive. That's awesome. I love that. Yeah, my wife, Nicole, is here as well. And, she comes from an opera background and interior design perspective. And so she's been spending a lot of time inside the home. But we've been getting some leaks in the basement, more of a steady drip than a flood. But it worries us every time it rains. The last owners did some really creative things to give the house some character on the roof, but took off all the gutters. And we're getting a lot of water that should normally be redirected other places. And some places of the house, this will be our second winter. But last winter we had pretty much gusts through certain parts of the house. So I think insulation is an issue. And there is not one level surface in this place. If you drop a marble on one side of the house, it'll, go through Big Toad's Wild Ride, getting to the other side.
Yeah.
So how
It's
do
part
we
of the charm, right?
prioritize? Knock things
Was
down.
the beloved celebrity Rube Goldberg who owned this house before you?
Actually,
Do you
go ahead.
It was Paul Rubens.
It was Pee Wee Herman.
Ah.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. And in fact, what we've gone so far as to put a little Pee Wee doll in the window to wave at people, and we have a red bike out front in his honor, so that people feel like we're paying the proper tribute. We were big fans when we grew up on the show.
Hey, I wasn't far off with the marble thing. It's really a similar contraption vibe.
No, that's great. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right, so you've got old house problems. It's drafty, and you got to figure out what are you doing first. Is that pretty accurate?
Exactly. Do we work on insulation or do we work on water?
And I should point out that insulation feels like a bigger one to me because the NYSEG bills were so outrageously high.
Yeah, we thought we were saving money when we moved from California. We just got here after 18 years in San Diego, and we're just spending the same amount of money in different places, it turns out.
Yeah.
Is this a big house?
No, she'll tell me every day it's not big enough.
It's a small house. It's 1,200 square feet.
Oh, 1,200 square feet with high heating bills. That's no bueno. All right. So unfortunately, I'm going to tell you.
No bueno, indeed.
I'm going to tell you, you have to handle bulk water management first because water infiltration. I don't know what word I just made up there.
That was a new one.
No, I liked it.
We strike that from the record.
Intrusion and infiltration together. I like it.
Infiltration.
This is
worse.
a step more
when
special.
it's coming in both ways, it's worse.
I think you're right, Zach. I think that you have to take care of the thing that could cause bigger issues first. And water coming in is really, it could cost you so much more than your heating bill in the long run if you guys get true water problems. That's got to be put to the top of the list, unfortunately. Wouldn't you agree?
I wish I could have said it like that. That's the
I liked
perfect way to say
infiltration.
it.
That was fine.
Yeah, I was like, in my head, I was like, if Jen doesn't start talking soon, I'm going to
You're gonna
have
make
to
up more
find a new
words.
job. What she's saying is you've got maybe a $5,000 problem today. And if you go ahead and insulate and deal with that, that could be a $15,000 problem, 6 months from now, a year from now. So you have to manage water first, unfortunately, always.
Yep.
Okay. So let me ask this. Should we start with gutters or with a French drain?
Gutters.
Okay.
Yep.
So we call it bulk water management in the know. Jen and I, when we're just on the phone talking while we're driving, that's what we call it.
This is not a thing.
But basically, most of your water is coming from rain, right? So it is cheaper and more effective to get that water away before it's close to the house. So manage it at the gutters, get your downspouts pointing away, get them to a lower pitch. But with water at your house, it's always out and away. So you may put the gutters on and solve the problem versus
trying to handle it once it's already near the house, down near your foundation.
Like the French drain is the cough drop. The gutters are sleeping appropriately and not having 3 children.
We have 5 kids.
You
But
haven't
here's the other
slept
part.
ever.
Well, thank you
Good
so much.
luck with
We
it,
love you
guys. Take care. We love you more. Bye-bye.
Take it easy. Bye.
After the break, our experts answer more of your home improvement and DIY questions. Call us at 877-864-7460. That's 877-864-7460. Coming up on This Old House Radio Hour from LAiston APM. Stay tuned. The Home Depot supports This Old House Radio Hour. You know what makes the holidays feel special? It's not just one big day, but a collection of moments, both simple and grand. It's the feeling you get when you walk up to your own front door and it just feels like home. Our friends at the Home Depot get that, and they know that home is where those moments truly come to life. 'Tis the season to share your joy, and whatever your style, you can find decor that does just that at the Home Depot. Think about decking your porch with jolly holiday decor. It's the first impression that says welcome and sets the stage for every memory you'll make this season. The perfect holiday decor truly makes the whole house feel festive, inside and out. The Home Depot is your go-to partner in making every holiday moment happen. Find pre-lit trees, holiday lights, decor, and more to get your holidays started at the Home Depot. Call us now at 877-864-7460. That's 877-864-7460, and we'll match you with the right expert. Hello, you're on This Old House Radio Hour.
Hi, my name's Leslie Dodson, and I'm calling from San Diego, California.
Hi, Leslie. What's your question today?
I own a vacation house that has cement countertops that are dark chocolate brown, and I wondered if it would be possible to paint them light almond color.
Great question. We've got Zach Detmore, a general contractor for the show, and Mauro Henrique, a painter for the show, both here to help. Mauro, can you paint concrete countertops that have already been painted?
Is this countertop interior or exterior? Inside or out?
It's inside the kitchen.
And you said it has been painted. Is that correct?
I think the countertops the cement was dyed, and it has some kind of a nice smooth finish on it. So I don't know. I didn't put them in.
Yeah. Well, I haven't done much of a countertop. Concrete countertop is not one of my specialties. Add anything to this one, Zach?
Sure. So my fear, if this is a vacation rental, is that you want it to be durable, whatever you put on this, right? You don't want this to be something that chips or flakes. You're getting calls about it. You're saying, this was supposed to make my life better, not worse. I've got more fun things to do on Saturday than find a painter, right?
Yeah.
So normally I wouldn't make this recommendation. So strike this from the record. But I think what you need to do is you need to, come up with whatever coating, color you can do, whatever looks beautiful, you decide that, and you put that on the counter, but then you cover it all with a clear epoxy, because it's durable.
Okay.
And it should be chemical resistant. It'll be a little bit more resistant to heat. If you were to put a pot on it, it'll be slightly more resistant than paint would be. I'm worried about things sort of stripping off. So what this does is it actually builds up like a thick layer of plastic, for lack of a better word, over the top of your countertop. And there are actually companies that do just this service. So you might be able to find someone to do it. But that is sort of what I'm leaning towards over a coating that gets applied to it. Do you have any experience with that, Mauro, like putting a 2-part epoxy over it?
That's a very good suggestion. I have some buddies of mine that all they do all day is just countertop. Sometimes it's like just finish countertop and they come and they polish, they put some sealer on, but that is a constant maintenance on that thing.
Oh, okay.
It is. If you go into that direction, is like I have houses that I maintain that every 3 months, every 4 or 6 months, there's people that polishing the concrete countertops, and it's beautiful. Get me wrong, and even the floors too. So, but it requires some maintenance. But there's some people that all the thing they do all day is this.
Wow.
Especially if you're going to change colors, so you're going to have to start from the ground.
Yeah.
I'm maybe a little more easygoing on this one. I think, especially if it's a rental and you know that it's something you might have to do and redo, there's a lot of kits at home centers that you can grab for just a couple $100s. And, they can be messy to install, but they have a lot of different colors you can choose from, a lot of different looks you can create. And there's the epoxy coating over the top, like Zach's explaining. And it's not going to last forever, but it's a good option if you really want to change that color without going deep into your pockets.
Oh, and it's a kit?
Yep, it comes as a kit. You can buy it online if you want to choose your color, or they make them ready-made right in big box stores. And you might need 2 kits depending on how big your kitchen is, but still only a couple $100.
And it's called an epoxy kit?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Absolutely. We wish you luck. Phone lines are open, so call us now to have your home improvement or DIY question answered. 877-864-7460. That's 877-864-7460. Hello, you're on This Old House Radio Hour.
This is Bill Bradley calling from Austin, Texas.
Hey, Bill, what's your question today?
So a couple weeks ago, you guys had a guy on, and he was talking about a squeaky stage. And the solution was to kind of drill around, and, if you can't find the joist, to find the joist. And so it reminded me that, I've got a similar issue, but it's on, I've got a 60s house with 2 1/4 oak flooring, and it's got a subfloor, and it's on a 2nd story. So it's finished floor, and I can't see the bottom. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to, start drilling, a hole every inch until I find the joist, because I've probably got 30 squeaks all over the place. So I'm wondering, I'm wondering if there are other options. I will say that to fix the issue, when I am able to find the joist, there's this product, it goes in, and then the head snaps off right at the right height. And so you've only got like this 1/8 of an inch hole that you can kind of putty. But, I've tried like a thermal gun to see if I can see the temperature difference in the joist. And I've tried, like a stud finder. Nothing's helping me find these joists. So I'm wondering what you guys can do that YouTube or Google hasn't been able to help me figure out.
No kidding. Well, to help answer your question, I have Zach Detmore, a general contractor for the show, here on the line.
So you went to the internet and you thought, I could solve your problems, if not the internet? Oh, man.
I have tried, and I was like, okay, if these guys can't answer it, I don't know who can, other than like an X-ray machine or something.
Right. So the problem is with these floors is what you're hearing, right, is the friction of the wood squeezing the nail moving up and down. Mm-hmm. Probably on the hardwood, but it also could be your subfloor, right? And that's what you're hearing. And if you've ever seen someone install these floors, they're like pow, 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 and they're just putting nails like every 9 inches, every 12 inches of nails all over the place, and then there's nails in the subfloor below that, right? And all of the seasonal movement that's happened over the years means you don't have like a few fasteners that are moving, you have dozens. Right? So even if you found the studs, the joists rather, sorry, I'm new to construction.
I was going to say, we're not selling confidence here.
What are we doing here? This is this is the first time I'm doing this. You're just going to have a tremendous amount of fasteners. It's a tremendous amount of work, and you will still have squeaks that are falling in the field between these joists that you're not going to rectify. So it can be frustrating. But one thing, if you're willing to do a crazy thing, is you can put graphite powder or talcum powder on your floor and work it into those areas, and it's going to act as a lubricant, believe it or not. And I would never suggest this unless I didn't try it. And I think this is really something you can only get away with if you're single. Because you effectively have to sort of broadcast powder in various areas of your house, and you can't just like sweep it up. You have to sort of just let it sit there, and as you walk over it, and the house expands and contracts, it's going to work its way in. And believe it or not, it does work eventually, but you have to apply it several times and sort of track this stuff through your house. I used like baby powder type stuff. So, if it was on my socks, it made my feet smell better, actually. But I think that type of solution might be more effective than trying to screw this down, because you're going to be chasing squeaks forever if you're trying to make this a new house. And it might be, unless you have that type of time on your hands to screw and patch and drill and fix and find, it's going to be a frustrating endeavor. Whereas this will be dirty for a while, but it may actually at least solve the symptom of what you're experiencing, which is every time you walk by.
Yeah.
So you say it could take a while for it to work into the cracks. What are we talking here?
I can't remember. I wish my wife was here. I could ask her, but I would say I applied it at least 3 times. Mine was in a house, like a Cape Cod second floor hallway that I was doing this little experiment. And I would literally just take, baby powder, and I would just sort of in a, almost like I was salting a sidewalk, just walking backwards. And then I was just sort of hit it with my sock coming back over. And we had sort of a Jacobean dark stain, and the floor just looked white and ridiculous. And we just we were both professionals working out of the house at the time. We had no kids. So we're just tracking around the house, and there'd be these white pathways. But I swear it worked, believe it or not. But I definitely had to apply it at least 3 times, and I was generous with the baby powder.
So after the first time, you were like, we're going to keep going on this. Eventually this is going to work. You just kept doing it.
Well, yeah, you think about, if you think of the mechanics of it, what's the baby powder going to do? It's certainly not going to make its way. We're talking about a tongue and groove joint. So it needs to make its way in the first bit, then it has to go horizontal, then it has to go down, then it has to go horizontal again, and then it has to
kind of spread out
and make its way in to the subfloor. So how much powder do you need? A tremendous amount of powder.
Choose your scent wisely. You're living with it forever.
And you're definitely sweeping it, perpendicular to the grain of the wood, if that makes sense, to work it in, because the nails are on the long edges of your boards.
Okay. This is going to be great. Okay, well, this is awesome. Thanks.
Let us know how it goes. I am so curious.
I will.
All right. Thanks, Bill.
Good luck with it.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Call us now at 877-864-7460. 877-864-7460. Hello, you're on This Old House Radio Hour.
Hi, Jen. Jeremy Larson from Luzerne, Iowa.
Hey, Jeremy, what's your question?
I have it's a 2-story farmhouse with a basement, but we're redoing some of the wiring, and I want to put in for the lighting, put a circuit per floor for the lighting, and I was interested in doing hardwired smoke and carbon monoxide detectors.
Yep.
Basically, the reason for that was so if the lights go out, I know that the smoke detectors are also offline. But my question kind of is that with those being on different circuits, I know I want to do with the interconnect. Can you run just a separate conductor for just the interconnect between circuits? I guess kind of why or why not. And I was more interested in the wired because I know there are wireless, but wireless isn't 100% reliable, but just to have that reliability of the hardwired.
Okay. Well, I've got Heath Eastman, an electrician for the show, and Zach Detmore, a general contractor for the show, and they're both here to help. Heath, what do you think?
Hey, Jeremy, how's it going?
Oh, not too bad.
So you have a couple of great points here that you brought up. The different options for these smoke detectors where you're starting to be overwhelmed when you go to a home center and you see wireless, wired, and a million versions of them, and you're not sure exactly what to use. So the first thing we tell everyone is you want to go speak with someone at the fire department and have them tell you what you can do and should do and what you shouldn't. Depending on the age of the house, how it's built, where they want the locations, and which detectors they approve and what they don't approve. So that's step number 1. You want to see what you can and can't do before you do anything.
I don't know, Heath. Whenever I do that, they always tell me the same thing.
Well, you always like forgiveness more than permission, Zach.
Stop touching the Dalmatian.
Yeah. So the other point you brought up that's great is you want to tie the smoke detectors in, if they're line voltage 120 volt smokes in the house, you want to tie them into a circuit that you know is going to be on or off. So we typically try to tie them into the primary bedroom somewhere. So if the lights aren't working, the receptacles aren't working, you know the smokes aren't powered as well. Here with these lighting circuits, That's great. Tied into something like that. They don't really draw any power, so it's not an issue. But you do want to loop them all together. So where you're going to have separate lighting circuits on each floor, you only want the smoke detectors tied together with one circuit. So either pick the first or the second floor, and you're going to have to loop those all together.
Okay. So, yeah, it's kind of, there's very little online. I obviously did some research, and there's very little, but of the little I did find that going between circuits was a bad idea, even with just because the interconnect itself is just a low voltage line, just basically telling the other smoke detectors to go off. So I kind of figured that with it being a low voltage line, that it might be okay between circuits, but I understand the if it happened to short out and go and combine a couple of circuits, that could be bad.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. It sounds like you have all the right ideas. You realize that the wireless ones aren't 100%. They're really good. They're not as solid and reliable as a hardwired one. You need the interconnect, so you're just going to be looping all those together.
Keith, what's the downfall with the wireless options? When you said those are good, but not as good, what's the weak point?
So you can talk to the fire department and they'll kind of explain it a little better than I can. But a lot of the ones we have seen before, they'll have, even if they're line voltage, where they're constant 120 volt, the interconnect is wireless a lot of times. And that's not 100% reliable. You can get interference. Sometimes, I don't want to say it relies on the Wi-Fi, but they talk to each other with a certain signal. Sometimes that signal isn't always accurate. Where it's hardwired, we know we have a constant solid connection to each device that they're going to go. So that's always the concern. In a retrofit installation like this, they may allow them. And that may be if, you don't have the budget to be tearing open walls or the ability, that makes sense. And that's kind of a problem solver for you, where you can add a wireless one to some of the hardwired ones and make the system work together. But, given the choice, if you're going to be in the middle of it and you don't mind patching a few holes, you can make the whole thing hardwired, you're going to be much happier in the end. Zach, any tips for how you're going to get around from the first floor to the second floor based on framing and age, maybe?
We've had a lot of luck with using a sort of diamond-tipped hole saw. So we'll drill circular holes, and they make these lovely little inverted Tupperwares. They sort of look like. There's probably a term for it, Heath. You know what I'm talking about? But it's basically goes around the hole saw, and all the debris.
The dust bowl.
Yeah, the dust falls into the.
Yeah.
It sort of falls into that, and unfortunately, even though you end up drilling a lot of holes, at least when you go to fill those holes, you have consistent shapes you're filling, so you can kind of, get in that production mode of filling and covering. So we just added, did this in a whole house built in the 20s, and we cut maybe 150 of those round holes, but it only took about a day or so for our drywall contractor to patch that 150 holes, and that included all the electrification. That wasn't just the smoke detectors, but I just say, you're going to have to get the wire to where you want it to be. So there will be holes cut, but at least make those holes easy to fill.
Yeah, luckily enough, the house is 1867, so it's got now been tubed that we're replacing. So
lucky you.
That helps. So since we're in that project, or going to be doing that project anyway, and then like I said, I wanted to kind of get the question answered before we started that, so that way if we needed to run extra wiring or reconfigure it somehow, that we could do that.
That's the perfect time to tackle it, and I think you already have all the right ideas. You know exactly what you're looking to do. It sounds great.
Awesome. Thanks, you guys.
All right, best of luck.
Take care.
Thanks.
When we return, Adam Carolla bought back his childhood home from his father just to fix it up and flip it. He shares the hilarious story of what happened next. That's coming up on This Old House Radio Hour from LAist and APM. Welcome back to This Old House Radio Hour from LAist and APM. I'm your host, Jen Largess. Coming up, how to get your yard ready for winter to make sure your grass and garden have a great start for next spring. But first, we go to Valley Village, California, where Adam Carolla bought back his childhood home from his father, a fixer-upper in desperate need of love.
Hey, I'm Adam Carolla. I'm a comedian and a podcaster, and this is my old house. I lived in a succession of really bad little ranch, one bedroom. I didn't live in a house that had more than one bathroom for a long time. And then we moved to a nice house where there were two bathrooms. It was still a little ranch, I don't know, 1,200, 1,300 square feet. Everything was real modest, but it was much better than the places I'd grown up in. It was a home I lived in junior high and high school. This little ranch house in deeper North Hollywood. It was just an old valley house. My dad never touched it, probably built in 49 or something, and some new carpet in one of the rooms. My dad wasn't capable of doing any kind of renovation financially, spiritually, morally, physically, psychologically. I had a unique relationship with my dad that is probably unlike anybody else's relationship with their dad. He wasn't a bad guy at all, but he didn't do anything for anybody or really care, so you were just on your own. I used to live in the garage when I didn't have any money to live on my own. It was half finished. It still had a garage door on it with the springs and the hinges and everything, but somebody put Henry's roof cement under the door base and maybe a piece of flashing. So it was like somebody took a garage door and just sealed it up. I do remember getting up on the roof and looking over the fence into the neighbor's yard that had a pool, and remembered during the dog days of summer when that garage would be like 110 degrees at night. I couldn't sleep. I didn't have air conditioning. I remember getting up at 2, 3 in the morning and climbing over the fence into the neighbor's yard and dipping myself in the pool just to try to get my core temperature down. Like I would, quietly as I could, hang off the diving board and hold myself underwater as long as I could hold my breath just to try to get my core down, and then climb out of the pool, go over the fence. It was a block wall fence, but it was 6 foot, 7 foot. It was a high block fence. And I'd go over it, land back in my yard, go back into my bedroom that was 110 degrees, and just put the fan on me and see if I could make it till 6 in the morning when I had to get up and go to work anyway. So my weird recollection of that time was how loud water was. Because in the still of the night, like at 3 in the morning when there's nothing going on, climbing out of the pool can be loud. If you just pop out of the pool, you hear it. I remember how very slowly having to lift myself out of this pool and get over the fence because I desperately didn't want my neighbors discovering I was in their pool at night. I had the desire to build and to have tools and to create things and to live in interesting, clean, nice, safe, comfortable places, and I just never had that. It bothered me because I wanted it. It just became apparent that wasn't going to happen with the family I came from. When I got older, I also worked on people's houses for a long time, and I would go, wow, working on your own home, what would that be like? And I kind of fantasized about, it must be wonderful to have your own house. And the person would go, we're going to put a pool in next summer. You know, I'd go, oh man, you're putting in a pool. Imagine that, stepping out of your own backyard, going in your own pool. You know, like I was into it. So by the time I made some money, I just hit the ground running. I'm like, I'm making up for lost time. I own 5 of every tool. I had an idea for a home improvement TV show that wasn't cooked, that was real, that was fun, that kind of showed what it was really like on a job site. It's guys who I work with. This is what they do for a living. And so I just assembled them all, and I thought we need a project. So we bought my dad's old house, market rate. It was kept up and theoretically turnkey. You could have moved in and lived in it. It was worn out and old. And what happened in Los Angeles is these houses were $75,000 not that long ago. Now, somebody's going to buy this house for $600,000. A couple that pays $600,000 for a home does not want to live in a 70s house that the school teacher and the nurse bought in 1973. So they end up gutting these places. My dad's house, we just gutted it. The kitchen is where I start because the cabinets, if you're lucky, you can just back out a bunch of screws and pop the cleats off the wall and just take the whole thing down. But these older ranch-style houses, they didn't build them that way. They didn't make boxes and hang them. They literally just nailed them up. They didn't have a back on the cabinet. You pull them apart in pieces. They never were a box. You pull apart the uppers, you pull them down, you take a sledgehammer to the lowers because there's a tiled countertop floated. You undo the cooktop and the oven and you pull out the mechanicals. I don't really get demoing out the living room when there's nothing there but plaster. You shouldn't be able to look at a house like, oh, you guys remodeled this year. The other real popular thing is cabinets in the bathroom and the kitchen and the bar. They're all navy blue with gold handles and gold fixtures. That's the new one. And it looks great. It's just you're time stamping your house. People know when this was done. It's when this stuff was popular. I don't think you should do that. I think stuff should be timeless. If you walk into a kitchen that was redone in 1974, it's going to be burnt orange and avocado appliances and linoleum everywhere. And I'm going to know what year you did it. I think if you race the car, you should know how to work on the car. I just think it makes you a better driver. I think you owe it to the car to kind of know what the car is and know how the car works and to be able to work on it. I've always just felt that way.
That was Adam Carolla. Catch his live tour throughout the fall. Check out adamcarolla.com for local dates in your area. With temperatures getting colder as we get closer to winter, our landscape and lawn experts Jen Nawada and Lee Gilliam are here to share the best ways to winterize your yard and garden. Jen and Lee, thank you for coming on today.
Thanks. Nice to see you.
Thanks for having me.
So, Jen, what should listeners do to get their lawn and garden ready for winter?
Okay, Jen, if you want to properly put it to sleep, there's a couple different categories. I'd say three major ones. Looking at your trees and shrubs within and around your house, vegetable gardens and perennial gardens as another category maybe, and then your lawn.
Correct.
I like your radio voice, Lee.
Very white, baby.
I was like, he's got this radio voice going on. It's cracking me up. Okay, go on.
All right, I like the categories. So starting with trees and shrubs, what do we need to think about there?
Okay, so they've had growth all season, from your hydrangeas to your dogwoods to your cherries, whatever trees you may have. And some of them might have gotten out of control. So it's a good time to shape them. But then you also want to think what blooms in the spring. You don't want to cut things back so hard that you're not going to have any blooms. So think of spring bloomers, don't hit them that hard, but it's a great time to reshape. Look into the trees. Are there any dead wood? Is there something that's going to pose a problem when heavy snow is on it?
Yep. A branch you might have missed that's rubbing up against something because, the foliage is down now so you can see inside the tree a little bit better.
Yeah.
What is the best way to identify what you have and know whether you're pruning it within the right season? You say some things get pruned in the fall, but you also don't want to get rid of those spring blooms. How can you be sure that you're doing it at the right time?
That's a great question. I mean, you really need to educate yourself and know what plants are in your yard. And if you don't know what plants are, there's actually a bunch of apps now and some iPhones. You can take a picture and it'll tell you exactly what you have, or bring a picture to a nursery. But knowing what's in your yard is most beneficial. Like a lot of people have problems with hydrangeas, right, Lee?
Yes.
Because there's so many different varieties and kinds. And if you prune them at the wrong time, they're not going to bloom for you the next year.
Correct.
So know your plant.
I've made this mistake.
Right. Everybody's made the mistake.
All gardeners have.
Yeah.
All gardeners have.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what gardening's all about.
Exactly.
It's a real bummer the next season when they don't flower.
Because you wait all year for it. You're like, no. So just really know your plants, educate yourself. It's kind of fun and addictive.
Big time.
So if there are things that bloom in the spring, we leave them alone.
I would leave them alone if you want to see the blooms.
What about tall grasses? I think a lot of people have ornamental grasses. They don't know whether they need to cut that back,
Oh,
leave it through
Jen,
the winter.
that's
What do
the
you think?
next section we're going to talk about. So, which moves on to our next section, perennials, perennial beds or vegetable raised gardens or in the ground. I'm talking a lot, Lee. You want to hop in?
On the ornamental grasses, that's like a preference. If some people like them up all year and then you cut it down early spring because they're such a fast grow up. Once you cut those things down, we'll say February, March, they're back up May, June, and they're ready to go. So those ones, that could be a preference if you want to see it during the off season.
So you're not going to hurt it.
You're not going to hurt it, correct?
Right. Some people, if it's in a parking lot, people want it clean and cut back. But if you live near the woods, or you could just let them go. It's a nice little habitat for some critters.
Correct.
I think it looks really pretty too. All other perennials, like some people, you see it all the time. Every one of your clients wants a nice, tidy garden.
They want nice, tight, yeah. That's a good thing sometimes. I appreciate that I do my homes like that, but I like to think about the insects and the bugs and all those other little things that we need.
All the birds that fly and take those little echinacea seeds and all the, it's still food for them.
Still food for them. And also leaving the leaves in some of the beds is really good for the insects and things like that.
Right.
But I want you to make sure it's clean. If you have that mold or the powder one.
Powdery mildew.
Powdery mildew.
Yeah, like a lot of peonies get that powdery mildew. Anything that has like a disease that you know of, make sure you rake all of those leaves out of your beds.
And don't leave it on the property. Don't put it in your compost. Put it in a bag. Get rid of it.
And what's the best way to tell if those leaves are diseased or if you have this kind of mold happening? You said it looks like powder on the ground.
It's like it looks like a gray soot
on the leaf.
On
exactly.
the leaves, yes.
It's on the leaf.
It looks like mold. It's pretty easy to detect.
Okay, I've got a little raised garden bed for vegetables in the back. What do I do with that in the fall?
Some people rip it all out, but as we hear more and more about the use of cover crops.
And what's a cover crop exactly?
A cover crop is something that you plant in the ground, but you're not planting it to eat it. It's just primarily for soil health. Think of your gut microbiome. And then, so like you're feeding your gut these things, right? So your body wants to process only good bacteria. And so that's what's in the soil as well. So they need something to feed off of and eat. So your soil's not depleted of all of its nutrients.
Also, like corn, they say just cut the stalks down and leave the root system in there. And that's what feeds off, all the bugs and the bio stuff that it wants to eat. So leave that in there.
Yeah, it keeps the soil alive.
Exactly.
And then it also, another thing, sorry, kind of get all crazy, but it helps with like erosion, helps keep the soil in place. Like if you have a big storm, it's not going to wash out. So all those roots are going to help maintain.
Hold it back.
Yeah. So erosion is another big one. And it'll help water perk back into the ground. It's a good thing.
So if you do something like a cover crop, just thinking ahead, then you just get rid of that in the spring when you're ready to plant everything else?
You cut the tops back and then you till it into the soil.
So now it's going to work again for you as organic material.
Exactly.
So thinking of the biggest part of a lot of people's yard is their lawn. What do we need to do to, you say, put it to sleep? What does that mean and how do we do that properly?
What we want to do is cut it short. And by cutting it short helps the lawn store energy, as well as like when we're going to clean off the lawn, it's easier to clean things off the lawn, like it's leaves and debris and things like that.
You don't go straight from 3 inches down to 1, right? Like
I would do steps. So if I'm cutting the grass, like during the grass cutting season at 3, then, when we start, the days are getting shorter and the temperature's changing. Now I'm going to cut it down to like 2.5 and then down to like maybe 2 or 1.5. And I'll leave it at 1.5. Okay. I'll cut it nice and short.
All right.
So now that we've cut the grass a little shorter, is there anything else we need to do to sort of prepare it for the freeze?
It all depends on what region you are. Like up here in New England, where we're at, this region as well as the Midwest, I want to do like a fall fertilizer. So after we cut the grass short, our last cut, possibly go out there and put some fertilizer down, potassium, which works out really good. And that will help on the lawn and store the energy.
Because it will help with the root system.
Correct. I don't want to do any nitrogen because I don't want it to grow. Nitrogen will make it grow. I don't want it to grow. So I wanted to put it to sleep and also for the root system.
So just to flash back to that bag that you see the 3 numbers on, the NPK, the nitrogen, phosphorus, And potassium, you're going to hit it with the third number.
Correct.
When it's appropriate for your area.
Yes.
And the nitrogen will just wake it up. It's just like a B12 vitamin. Like, let's go.
I'm going to do that in spring.
So,
but like we live down in Florida or Texas or California, we're not really concerned about our lawns going to sleep.
So when you get down to 2 inches and you're ready to aerate, what is that process and how can a typical homeowner do that? Do they need a professional?
You could do a professional, stay inside, watch TV and relax. Or you could go to the box store or your rental center and rent a machine. It's called an aeration machine. They're the size of a lawnmower.
Can I pop this in the back of my car or do I need to bring it home on a trailer?
I think a trailer would work much better, or a pickup truck or a small pickup truck with ramps. The reason why is because they're so heavy. They're a 400-pound machine.
Yeah.
And it makes cores. It has these plugs and it pops holes in the ground.
Everyone thinks it's geese poo or something up at the soccer fields and stuff.
Exactly.
But everyone's like, oh, what's this? And then you're like, wait, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
But it's aeration plugs.
Aeration plugs.
So now that we've aerated the lawn and got those plugs up so that you have better access maybe to the roots, what are we adding next?
So now we're going to go into overseeding, use a starter fertilizer, and then go in there and put this your grass seed down.
Yeah, it depends on like where you are. Are you in the full cooking all day sun versus shade? You know, the different seed you'll select.
So you're using that last couple weeks so that when spring comes, you're halfway to having the most beautiful lawn on the block.
Exactly. You're the envy of the neighborhood. Don't get me going about grass now.
I don't know. I think I could mess this up.
I cut it. I don't smoke it.
It's definitely not making the cut.
You don't like that one?
Jen and Lee, we're excited to get started on these steps. Thank you so much for joining us.
We love it.
Thanks for having us. It was fun.
For more lawn care information, how-tos, and resources, head over to thisoldhouse.com. We're nearly at the end of the show, which means it's time for the Simple Fix.
Hi, Jen. This is Mark McCullough. I'm the show's mason, and this is my Simple Fix. Interested in giving your bricks a moss-like finish in a fraction of the time? What I do is I'll take a little bit of yogurt, a little bit of milk, I'll mix them together, and I'll paint the area. Moss, which usually takes decades to grow, using the trick of yogurt, milk, and a paintbrush, I can get it to grow within a couple years.
And that's our show for today. But before we sign off, we have a special farewell to share. Our good friend Mark Dorrell at the Home Depot is hanging up his tool belt, so to speak, and retiring after a fantastic career. For years, Mark has been a huge part of what we do, and we can't thank him enough for his partnership and for being such a champion of our show. Mark, all of us at This Old House congratulate you on your retirement. We'll miss you. We'll see you next week on This Old House Radio Hour. Our show is distributed by and co-produced by LAist Studios and APM, American Public Media. This Old House Radio Hour was created and produced by Ember 20. Listen to new episodes of the podcast every Tuesday on your app of choice. You can follow This Old House on all the socials at This Old House, all one word. We'll see you next week.